Remember that time the United States government wanted to go to war with another country, but they didn't have a reason to? So they created one? Operation Northwoods. Quote, we could blow up a US ship in Guantanamo Bay and blame Cuba. Or, quote, sink a ship near the harbor entrance and conduct funerals for mock victims.
But that's the thing you didn't know, the thing you'd never think to check. Those people were already dead before the bomb went off. That's what I'm saying.
What you are looking at is Operation Northwoods, the unclassified document dated March 13th, 1962. This unclassified document is widely available online, and all you have to do is search for Operation Northwoods PDF or Northwoods PDF and you'll find it. It's been available for a while, but most people have no idea what it says. Let's take a look at it together and see if we can find anything strange. So when you're reading this document, it pretty much says that the US military wants to go to war with Cuba and they don't have a real reason to, so they want to create one. And this Operation Northwoods is their idea to create a war with Cuba. Let's see what it says. Okay, so page 7, you go down to paragraph 1. Quote, since it would seem desirable to use legitimate provocation as the basis for US military intervention in Cuba, a cover and deception plan to include requisite preliminary actions such as been deployed in response to Task 33C could be executed as an initial effort to provoke Cuban reactions. Harassment plus deceptive actions to convince the Cubans of imminent invasion would be emphasized. Our military posture throughout the execution of the plan would allow a rapid change from exercise to intervention if Cuban response justifies. Paragraph 2. A series of well-coordinated incidents will be planned to take place in and around Guantanamo to give genuine appearance of being done by hostile Cuban forces. Incidents to establish a credible attack, not in chronological orders. So basically they're saying here what they're going to do to start an attack. Number 1, they're going to start rumors using clandestine radios. They're going to land friendly Cubans in uniforms over the fence to stage an attack on the base. They're going to capture Cuban territory. They're going to start riots near the main base. They're going to blow up stuff in the base and have fires and all that. And then it gets interesting. It says on number 10, sabotage a ship in the harbor, large fires, and then you go down to number 11, it says sink ship near harbor entrance, conduct funerals for mock victims, and then it says maybe in lieu of 10. So they're saying here they want to sink a ship near the harbor and conduct funerals for mock victims? That seems kind of strange. Let's continue reading. B. United States would respond by executing offensive operations to secure water and power supplies, destroying artillery and mortar emplacements which threaten their base. C. Commence large-scale United States military operations. And then paragraph 3, quote, a remember the Marine incident could be arranged in several forms. A. We could blow up a U.S. ship in Guantanamo Bay and blame Cuba. B. We could blow up a drone unmanned vessel anywhere in Cuban waters. We could arrange to cause such an incident in the vicinity of Havana or Santiago as a spectacular result of a Cuban attack from the air, sea, or both. The presence of Cuban planes or ships merely investigating the incident of the vessel could be fairly compelling evidence that the ship was taken under attack. The nearness to Havana or Santiago would add credibility, especially to those that might have heard the blast or seen the fire. The U.S. could follow up with an air-sea rescue operation covered by U.S. fighters to, quote, evaluate remaining members of the non-existent crew. Casualty lists in U.S. newspapers would cause a helpful wave of national indignation. I mean, this is shocking stuff, right? Let's move on. Number 4. We could develop a communist Cuban terror campaign in the Miami area, in other Florida cities, and even in Washington. The terror campaign could be pointed at Cuban refugees seeking haven in the United States. We could sink a boatload of Cubans en route to Florida, real or simulated. We could foster attempts on lives of Cuban refugees in the United States, even to the extent of wounding, in instances to be widely publicized. Exploding a few plastic bombs in carefully chosen spots, the arrest of Cuban agents, and the release of prepared documents substantiating Cuban involvement would also be helpful in projecting the idea of an irresponsible government. And then it goes into some very interesting details. Number 6. use of MiG-type aircraft by U.S. pilots could provide additional provocation. Let that sink in for a minute. The United States military wanted to put U.S. military personnel in foreign planes and use those people to start a war, pretending like they're somebody else. This is unbelievable. Let's continue reading. Harassment of civil air, attacks on surface shipping, and destruction of U.S. military drone aircraft by MiG-type planes would be useful as complementary actions. An F-86 properly painted would convince air passengers that they saw a Cuban MiG, especially if the pilot of the transport were to announce such a fact. The primary drawback to this suggestion appears to be the security risk inherent in obtaining or modifying an aircraft. However, reasonable copies of the MiG could be produced from U.S. sources in about 3 months. Number 7, quote, hijacking attempts against civil air and surface craft should appear to continue as harassing measures condoned by the government of Cuba. Concurrently, genuine defections of Cuba, civil and military air and surface craft should be encouraged. Number 8, it is possible to create an incident which will demonstrate convincingly that a Cuban aircraft has attacked and shot down a chartered civil airliner en route from the United States to Jamaica, Guatemala, Panama, or Venezuela. The destination would be chosen only to cause the flight plan route to cross Cuba. The passengers could be a group of college students off on a holiday, or any grouping of persons with a common interest to support chartering a non-scheduled flight. An aircraft at Elgin Air Force Base would be painted and numbered an exact duplicate for a civil registered aircraft belonging to a CIA proprietary organization in the Miami area. At a designated time, the duplicate would be substituted for the actual civil aircraft and would be loaded with the selected passengers, all boarded under carefully prepared aliases. The actual registered aircraft would be converted into a drone. Takeoff times for the drone and the actual aircraft will be scheduled to allow a rendezvous south of Florida. From the rendezvous point, the passengers carrying the aircraft will descend to a minimum altitude and go directly into an auxiliary field at Elgin Air Force Base, where arrangements will be made to evacuate the passengers and return the aircraft to its original status. The drone aircraft, meanwhile, will continue to fly the filed flight plan. When over Cuba, the drone will be transmitting on the international distress frequency a Mayday message stating he is under attack by a Cuban MiG aircraft. The transmission will be interrupted by the destruction of the aircraft, which will be triggered by radio signal. This will allow ICAO radio stations in the Western Hemisphere to tell us what has happened to the aircraft, instead of us trying to sell the incident. Number 9. It is possible to create an incident which will make it appear that the communist Cuban MiGs have destroyed a U.S. Air Force aircraft over international waters in an unprovoked attack. So what do you think about this document? What do you think about all the crazy things that the United States government was willing to do in order to start a war? And do you think that they're still willing to do these things today? Please leave a comment and let me know what you think. And until next time, thank you all for watching, and God bless you all.